I implore people to read sincerely, deeply,
Right.
to understand the fundamental guideline, how to get to this one holy God. It's not by chance you just pray, because you can't pray to a God you don't know, you have never seen. It is impossible for you to hate me who you see and say you love God you have never seen. Because the Bible describes who God is, and God, the Bible gives you what is his name. And his name is... Sorry. Be respectful, be respectful. Now, God gave the name of who he was to Israel. Many different names. He says his name is what? El Shaddai, Yeshua. I am that I am. I am the God of all flesh. Let me finish.
He didn't mention his name to no other nation in the Bible. He said mention his name to Jacob, who he is. Because God used to mention him and say, I am. Yes. I am who I am.
Okay, so I'm glad you started from that premise. Yeah. So how do we move from I am to Allah? Because remember that, hold on, before you go further, one minute. Remember, this Allah was never known to my forefathers. Was never preached in Israel before.
All right.
He's not a Jewish God. He was never worshipped by Jews.
No. Who the revelation, ladies, who the revelation come to? Muhammad, right? What language do you speak?
Arabic.
All right, Arabic. So
when Moses stood before the burning bush that was not consumed, he heard the voice of God calling him to deliver the people of Israel from Egypt. In his anxiety and sense of inadequacy, Moses asked, "If they ask me, what is the name of this God? What shall I say to them?" And God responded, not with an ordinary name, as men give to idols, but with an existential declaration that transcends the limits of human language. Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, translated as, I am who I am, or I will be who I will be. The word Ehyeh comes from the root haya, which means to be, or to become. Grammatically, it is in the call imperfect form, which in biblical Hebrew does not refer to past, present, or future in the modern sense, but to an action that is unfinished, ongoing, and continuous. This expresses the eternal existence of God, unbound by time, independent of creation, and unchanging. He never became, because he is not derived from anything, because his being is the very source of all that exists. Here lies a profound ontological difference between Yahweh and Allah in Islam. In the Qur'an, when asked who Allah is, the response is, He is Allah, the one and only, Surah 112:1. Yet this is not an ontological declaration, it is merely an external description. Nowhere in the Qur'an does Allah reveal his essence in the same way that Yahweh revealed himself to Moses. The Islamic concept of Allah is known through attributes, Asma'ul Husna, but he never discloses his being in an ontological, existential, or relational way. In contrast, in the New Testament, Jesus of Nazareth spoke words that shook the Jewish leaders to their core. In John 8:58, Jesus declared, "Before Abraham was, I am." He did not merely say, "I existed before Abraham." He said, "I am, ego eimi," a direct echo of Ehyeh in the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Hebrew Scriptures. To his Jewish audience, this was a direct and unmistakable claim that Jesus was identifying himself as Yahweh, the same God who spoke to Moses from the burning bush. The response was swift and violent. They picked up stones to kill him, John 8:59. Not because they misunderstood him, but because they understood exactly what he was claiming, that he is the eternal I am, uncreated, divine, one with Yahweh.
Wouldn't you think that revelation would come in that tone that Muhammad speak and when it come in that tone, wouldn't you think that the word Allah is an Arabic name of God? So every nation of people call God different name.
Yeah, but we have a problem. We're going to have a problem.
Only one God. So why Christians have a problem when Muslims said God is Allah? You shouldn't have a problem with that. Why?
I tell you what the problem goes.
So if I say Allah, who may I talk about?
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying, hold on. Let me explain to you now.
No. Do you have a problem?
No, let me tell you the problem I have.
Do you have a problem?
Yes. Let me tell you the problem I have. All right. Let me tell you the problem I have. Okay.
Why?
When Adam disobeyed God, and Adam was cast out of the Garden of Eden with his wife Eve, God guarded that garden, that man should not enter back that garden. Because
wait, what was that? Because I didn't read that for.
Yes, in the book
in Genesis 2.
You see, knowledge is power. We have to just jump into the word.
I never
Now,
read it before God
let me go further. Let me go further. No. God guarded that garden. That man should not get back inside. No. When Adam sinned, he did something very treacherously wicked on the earth. Sin came upon the earth. Because the knowledge of man now becomes knowledgeable of good and evil. God has established within humankind a free will. It is a pattern that we have. And God will not alter the outcome of your free will choice. Because Adam chose, because he could have chose not to obey his wife. He could have said, remember, Eve was not given the commandment. It was Adam. And Adam taught his wife everything. God made Adam as man to be dominion and ruler of all the things. Because man was not created to be in heaven. Man was not created to be where God, because where God is, in all his essence and his glory, mortal flesh cannot stand where he is. We can't be there. So man was made of creation to inhabit the earth that God has created for man to be there. That was it. Now, when Adam wandered away from God, what happens to the earth? It becomes more wicked, more violent, more lies. Because the devil was cast out of heaven. Because the Bible says in Revelation, there was war in heaven. And Lucifer and his angels.
Because sin activates that.
Thank you very much.
Sin activates
sin. The wages of sin is death.
Right. Sin
Okay. Now.
Because once Adam transgressed against Allah,
yes,
it activates that man that died.
Okay, but there's another key point question we're going to go now. As according to the Torah, the Gospel and the Angel, God, in his infinite wisdom, out of time and space, made a creation. And then he invites himself to come in his creation that he has created. Because he spoke to
how did he invite himself?
Tell you what he does. God has always been involved in his creation. In the Garden of Eden, let me tell you what the invitation is. Let me explain. Let me invite.
If God creation, God can't invite himself.
Let me tell you what it means to invite. Let me tell you what it means.
Yeah, go on.
God is not a slave driver.
Right.
He doesn't dictate to anybody. He sets his laws and his statutes, you follow them. God doesn't need you, you need him.
Right.
You lost your way, you need to get back to him.
Right.
When a child misses his parent, he cries.
Right.
If an animal loses his mom, or whatever his animal, he seeks to find mother. So what I'm saying to you, God established himself among man. Because the establishment of God is that man was not made to be independent of God. Man was made to glorify God for who he is. Now, the key point I want to bring to you is this. Let me finish. Now, sorry. Don't create. This is the point I want to make. According to Genesis, because this is the problem we're having. That's why I have the problem with Allah. And we have this problem with this God. The triune God. Let me tell you the problem I have with this God called Allah. Adam and Eve, when God created the heavens and the earth, he made a garden and put the Adam family in. According to Qur'an, Adam and Eve was made in paradise. And Iblis was there with them. Now, the establishment of that paradise, I want to know which one of the heavens they were created into. Because the more you go in that paradigm, you're moving away from biblical text. So it's either Genesis of the Bible is correct, or the Islamic teachings of the creation is correct. And I find them very contradicting. Because the God of the Bible is totally different from the God of the Quran. The Jesus of the Bible is a different Jesus of Quran. So we are playing cat and mouse. So we need to establish the truth. Now, what I'm saying is this. This is the problem.
All right.
It's where I'm going.
Where is paradise?
In the Quranic narrative, the creation of the first human being did not take place on earth, but in paradise. Allah said to Adam and his wife, "Dwell in paradise." Only after they were tempted by Satan were they cast down to the earth. This moment is not a minor detail. It creates a deep theological conflict between the Islamic and the biblical understanding of creation. The Bible speaks with clarity and consistency. Man was created from the dust of the ground, earthly soil, and immediately placed on earth. The Garden of Eden was not some abstract spiritual realm, but a real place, geographically located, marked by rivers still known today, Tigris and Euphrates. Adam and Eve were not cast down. They were created for the earth, to live, to work, and to multiply. Earth in the Bible is not a place of exile. It is the stage of God's covenant and purpose. But the Qur'an presents a radically different view. Paradise becomes the place of creation. Yet strangely, that paradise contains a forbidden tree. It has physical food. It hosts temptation. And most disturbing of all, Satan is there. This leads us to ask, is the Islamic paradise truly a holy place? Or is it a realm of testing, confusion, and contradiction? How could Satan, God's enemy, be allowed to roam freely in paradise and corrupt what is supposed to be the presence of Allah? And then there's the greater question. If Adam was created from the soil of the earth, how was he created in paradise? Was the soil of earth transported into paradise? Does Islamic paradise share physical elements with the earth? These are not small questions. They point to a deep theological inconsistency. The biblical God, Yahweh, does not speak in riddles. He created man from earth, on earth, and for earth. When man fell, he remained on earth, under a curse, yes, but still within the realm of God's redemptive plan. The Quranic creator, by contrast, creates man in a paradise filled with temptation, permits the presence of Satan, then casts mankind down to earth as punishment. This is not the design of a coherent, faithful creator, but of a fragmented and unstable narrative. This is not simply a disagreement in geography, it is a revelation of character. The creator in the Bible is consistent. The creator in the Qur'an is not. And because of that, we must say boldly and without hesitation, they are not the same.
All right.
It's where I'm going.
Where is paradise? And what place they call paradise?
Paradise in what part? In what context?
Call paradise? Because you said you don't agree with the name Allah.
Yeah.
Because we Muslims say Adam and Eve was created in paradise.
Yes, you create. No, so what you did, you created a new paradigm.
What is paradise? What you call paradise?
Paradise is a place made new, where God will receive His people and bring them unto.
This is why I say paradise.
Yes.
Paradise is a place.
Yes.
Where there is no wickedness.
Yes.
There is no sin.
Yes.
There is no adultery.
Yes.
There was no rapist.
And it's going to be joy, peace, long-suffering.
Paradise is a place that
Beautiful.
we might have animals and take care of animals. We don't have no lions.
That was how God made Adam. That was how God. That was how God. No, that was how God made Adam man.
So do you think that when the Quran and you have mentioned the word paradise,
yes,
Adam and Eve was created in paradise,
yes,
do you think that paradise will be on earth?
No, because I yet to find the
so
surah.
No,
but I need no.
Because before
yes,
Adam transgressed against Allah,
yes,
the earth was paradise.
Yes, but what I'm saying, your Adam and Eve, your Adam and Eve was not made here. They was not created here.
So which part
they were created among the heavens. But not on this earth.
Where?
There is no surah verse that teaches that Adam and Eve was created on earth here.
So where is paradise?
But
where is the place in paradise?
I need for you to tell me where that is. Because it's two different creations.
Must be on earth.
Yeah, but okay. But that is not a to Quran. But that is not a to Quran. Okay.
Where is paradise?
Okay.
Where is paradise?
Can I answer now?
Can I tell you where is paradise?
No, and I tell you why I didn't.
Exactly. I did not tell you.
But where did you come from? No,
so if the Quran say Adam and Eve was created in paradise, that simply means that could it be paradise was on earth?
But we have a problem. No, but we have a problem. But we have a problem.
No, we have no
I'll tell you what problem we have.
Before Adam transgressed.
All right, let me speak and I'll speak after. I'll tell you where we're going to have a problem. But the same Quran says, get down from here. Adam and Eve and Iblis came down. Remember, so how can you be here and coming down from where you already? No, something is wrong. They were cast down, so if they were already here, why were they cast down from somewhere where they were already at? I have a problem there.
Read that verse in the Quran. Yes.
It is in the Quran. Read the context of the Quran. I don't even have the Quran. I read the context. You need to find the context of it. Because Iblis was told to bow before Adam. Okay? And he disobeyed. The Iblis was cast down. Adam and Eve was cast down out of paradise. So what I'm saying, that paradigm, they were not in the existence of this earth. Where were they cast? Seven heavens. No, seven heavens. Yes, seven heavens. Yeah, they say come down. Come down. It says come down.
I don't know that.
Yes, it's in text. It's in text. In text.
Paradise
yes,
was on earth.
Yes.
Before Adam transgressed.
Yes.
So Adam and Eve must be created in paradise.
Yes.
On earth.
Yes.
It couldn't be in heaven. Because if Adam and Eve was created in heaven, then they must see Allah.
I love it for the truth.
They must see Allah.
What did you say? So if Adam and Eve was so if Adam and Eve was
Adam was created
by
mud and earth. So earth was paradise before Adam transgressed.
Yes, sir. So because man was made.
Paradise
yes.
and earth.
Yes. But why do they extend the extension to say it was paradise up in heaven? It can't be. Because God never makes flesh and blood to dwell where He is.
In Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 35, Allah says to Adam and his wife, "Dwell, both of you, in paradise." The word used here is al-Jannah, a term that consistently refers throughout the Qur'an to the afterlife paradise, a place of bliss promised to the righteous. In Quranic Arabic, al-Jannah is not simply a garden or earthly grove. Prominent Islamic scholars such as Ibn Kathir, al-Tabari, and al-Qurtubi have explicitly interpreted al-Jannah in this context as the celestial paradise above, not a location on earth. From the beginning, the Islamic tradition has understood that Adam and Eve were created not on earth, but in the paradise above the heavens. When Adam and Eve disobeyed by eating from the forbidden tree, Allah did not merely relocate them from one earthly garden to another. He used the command ehbitu, which means descend or go down. This verb, in its cosmological and theological context, refers to a movement from a higher realm to a lower one, from the divine dimension down to the physical world. It is the same verb used in the Qur'an when describing the descent of revelation from heaven to earth. Thus, if paradise were already located on earth, it would make no sense for the Qur'an to command Adam and Eve to descend, as if they were being sent to a place they were already in. The phrase, "we caused them to descend from that place," becomes deeply problematic if paradise is understood to be on earth. What does it mean to be sent down to earth if they were already on earth? This creates a structural contradiction that cannot be ignored. And if the narrative is forced to align with the idea of an earthly paradise, then another troubling question arises. Why was Satan present in that place? How can a being who is described throughout the Qur'an as a rebel, an enemy of God, and a deceiver, be present in a place that is supposed to be holy and pure? If the paradise where Adam was created truly existed on earth, then it would imply that the earth was already tainted by sin and evil, even before the fall of humanity. That would mean the earth bore the marks of the fall before the fall had even occurred, which creates an unresolved theological paradox.